What up? It's a Wednesday. You know what that means. It's Rumor and Innuendo. I'm Dominic D'Angelo of AdFreeShows.com, SEScoops.com, podcast Heat Wrestling, and I am with Mr. Robert Karplis. He's a former WWE writer, WWE_underscore creativist. Robert, hey, happy Wednesday.
So excited because I knew Dom was going to screw up at some point during the intro, and we got it like 3 times.
Yes.
It's fantastic because it's the same intro every single day, Monday through Friday, and he still finds ways to keep it spontaneous, to keep it upbeat. What are you doing with your hat? You're throwing things off. We'll say hi to E, who says, "What's up?"
What's up?
Wanna Breeze says, "Hello, R&I. When you point your finger, you have 2 sisters pointing back at you. Don't you dare." Devin Dowling says, "Ayo."
Ayo.
Then he asks, anyone else's town getting a blizzard right now? It's
very rainy up here.
It's 83 degrees right now.
How dare you, Robert?
I'm staring at sunshine, palm trees. The pool is glistening. It's a beautiful day here. I may actually go for a nice stroll after this. Pop the headphones in and listen to a book, an audio book that I'm in the middle of listening to right now.
How dare you do such fun things like that in nice weather, nonetheless?
Oh, that is.
This is fun.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it.
Willie Thornbrew asks, he says, "I'm so excited that winter is coming. It actually may be coming to Florida tomorrow. We're supposed to have a low of 55.
No, say it ain't so, Robert.
Put the heat on. That's a shoot right there. Dre Owen says, "Hello, and I missed the show yesterday, but back for the loaded Dynamite preview." Yes. What's great is I literally joined like just as we were pushing play. I have not looked at the Dynamite previews, so I will be live reacting. No recollection of what the hell's going on. I think tonight is the Eddie Kingston match, right?
It's winter is coming, Robert.
All right. Well, we still got some more folks say hi to Rude. 7988 says, "Happy Wednesday, guys." And Wrestling Old Head says, "Good day to you all. Anyone catch NXT where the Saints went marching in?"
No, did not see it.
No, I watched NXT Deadline. So myself and Scott Chapman recorded and talked about that. That's up on the Working Stiff Patreon. A lot of great talent down there in NXT.
There sure is, Robert. I'm still like of the camp. I kind of wish Obafemi was Cena's last opponent.
Nah,
you don't think so?
Nah, because the reality is you couldn't put a guy like Obafemi into that spot for a couple of reasons. Number one, it would be a babyface versus babyface match. And you want the audience to really be able to just kind of disconnect, and it is our superhero of all superheroes, John Cena, versus an evil, unstoppable adversary. That's the first part. The second part of this is there is a section of the audience that's going to be so excited to see Obafemi, they're going to make it about him and not about John. So they're going to be cheering him, even if it is a baby. You don't want them booing Cena in his last match. You don't want it to be about anything other than that. And third, you don't want to put Obafemi on that kind of a stage in a John Cena match and run the risk of him having any sort of misstep. So putting him in there with a guy like Cody, who is physically a little bit more nimble. He's admittedly, he's younger. He's more spry. He's more in shape. He's going to be able to make Obafemi look great. Whereas if you listen to the Chris Van Vliet interview with John Cena, Chris Van Vliet, friend of the show, friend of mine. I don't know if have you ever met Chris?
Oh yeah, me and Chris are friends. Yeah, we met
Chris and I go way back when he was the WSVN Channel 7 correspondent for Deco Drive.
Wow,
he's a good dude. He used to come out. We used to bring him out to the Panther games. Cena was surprisingly candid in the way that the AI robot that John Cena has become can be candid, where he talks about physically, like, I'm tapped. Like, I'm at the point right now where what I can do is what I can do. And in those matches where I've gone full throttle, like a Charlie's Angels movie, it was me knowing like there is no tomorrow, but he wasn't game to try anything new on air that he hasn't tried out on a crash pad or worked out in the back. Putting Obafemi in that kind of a spot would do him no favors. And if the match winds up not being great, that's not how you want to color Obafemi in terms of his debut. Gunther can overcome and survive. Gunther gets good to great matches out of just about everybody that he wrestles. He can have a formulaic match with John Cena and people like it. They can pull out a couple of special things and people like it. Win, loss, doesn't really matter. It's sort of a one-off special. And John kept coming back to the notion that this show is a bit out of continuity. That was always his idea, is that it's a one-night only thing for everybody else, that it's NXT versus the main roster. You don't need storylines. You don't need a lot of other bells and whistles. It's just people are going to tune in to watch me. They're going to tune in to see my last match. Who can we put a spotlight on and who's going to step up?
And I think, too, that's a really fair argument. In the same line, yeah, maybe Obafemi's not going up against John Cena, because I just thought it would be a neat kind of full circle thing. Some guy shows up, quote unquote, debuts and fights Cena just like Cena did with Kurt Angle. But in the same turn, they're still getting the rub with Cena being on the same card and the kind of spotlight and structure that show will have. So, yeah, I think that's a very fair argument, Robert. And you're right. Gunther will be a great opponent for him and be able to tell a good story because he's shown he can do it with anybody, basically, Gunther. So I'm with you now. You convinced me. You convinced me, Robert.
Oh, good.
Yes. I knew
As
you
I'm
were
sitting here getting angry text messages from Scott Chaplin, who's...
Is he tuning in right now?
I know what you guys are thinking. If you listen to the Working Stiff program, you think like, that's a work. That's how these guys are on air. No, this is Scott 24/7. He's going off in the group about how WWE doesn't know how to make big stars. AEW makes stars. WWE stinks. It's weak sauce. Braun Breaker doesn't matter. AEW is incredible. And I'm just like, it's like
now,
Robert, a toddler. You want to let him...
Are you exaggerating what Scott's takes are, though, right now? Is he really in the camp?
Oh no, these are verbatim quotes.
Are they really?
It's so yes. It's frustrating. Who you are making this up? WWE stinks. Yeah, Rhea isn't even judged by her matches. It's just that dorks think she's hot. Sometimes he's doing it just to get under skin.
Yes, it seems like
it happens. But you know what? He's passionate about what he loves. He is an AEW sicko. And speaking of all, Marty's pissed.
I think he's excited.
You talk about All Elite Wrestling. I'm going to go get the dog.
I will definitely indeed do that because, to Scott's point, tonight feels like a pay-per-view. This is what an AEW pay-per-view should actually be. Is this winner's coming card? Obviously, the length should be what it is too, I think. But this is a really good card. No better place for AEW Dynamite. Atlanta, Georgia, very WCW-esque, TBS. It epitomizes. So this is what Tony.
Hey, you didn't let me guess where they were.
Well, it was helping me set up where it was. So I had to. I was
gonna guess. I was obviously gonna assume that they're one of these days they are gonna be in Shreveport, Louisiana, and it's gonna be the best. Maybe I'll go if they ever go to beautiful Shreveport, Louisiana. I will fly in for that show simply to pay this joke up. I couldn't tell you. I'm not going to Shreveport, Louisiana. Kevin Kellum joining us live says WWE doesn't know how to make stars. Marty is not having it because he's a smart dog. He knows there are big stars being made by the world of wrestling entertainment.
Oh, well, Robert, this is a good card, I think, tonight. We'll get your thoughts, though. All right? We have the AEW Women's Tag Team Championship. That's the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, taking on the Timeless Love Bombs, Mina Shirakawa.
Isn't this for this is for the title? Neither one of them has the coveted AEW Tag Team Championships.
Yes, this is for the titles. Robert, I'm still of the camp that it should have been Megan Bain and Marina Shafir. So this is kind of an odd one, but still should be a fun kind of title match going on, I think, between these.
It's a lesser match. It's babyface, where the crowd is not going to know exactly who to support because there's folks who love the Harley Cameron shtick. They love Willow Nightingale. She's very much sort of the Mick Foley of the AEW women's division. And then you got people who go crazy for Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm. So putting either one of them up against a heel team would have made for a great finals. Instead, you're going to get slightly muted reactions. You're going to get a crowd that's not going to know exactly what to do when there is ultimately a winner. You don't have 100% consensus. Everyone is not going to be over the moon thrilled. If it was going to be Willow and Harley, then yes, Megan Bain and Marina Shafir would have won last week. But because they didn't, it feels like it's going to be Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. They want to be able to say they are our first AEW Women's Tag Team Champions. And then you can go to a rematch against Marina and Megan Bain.
Well, I just think that's so stupid. I think it is. I think like if that's the route they take, Toni Storm's already established, and I know so many ways she's Teflon for AEW too. To put it on somebody like Willow and Harley, two women wrestlers that have been very, for the most part, underutilized by AEW, considering their charisma and their talent. It's a disservice to them. I think that if they don't win the titles tonight. I think it is.
It's an odd decision across the board, but again, I think part of it is, Tony sometimes looks at who's going to answer the trivia question in 20 years of who were the first ever AEW Women's Tag Team Champions. So to be able to say that it was Toni Storm was the inaugural Women's Tag Team Champion in his book means something.
I can get that to a point, but
Dre Owens just got himself banned. He just said Julia and Sky Blue should have been the first champs. No. I mean, that beatdown on Collision, I can't believe I'm quoting shit. I'm talking about Sky. I watched Collision.
Yes.
There was a segment where Julia Hart and Sky Blue were beating down people in the back. Every time they're on TV, it gets so bad that it's almost like performance art. It's almost like they're trying to see what sort of meta commentary they can make on professional wrestling.
Let me ask you this. Was it Riot Squad bad?
I like the Riot Squad.
You liked the Riot Squad, Robert?
Riot Squad were great.
No.
What do you have against the Riot Squad?
They were awful. The stuff they did backstage, like spray painting doors or like knocking over trash cans, it was like...
It was edgy. It was edgy, Dom. You don't understand.
Get out of here.
They were a squad of Riot.
Hey, we're gonna get a riot with this one, Robert. It's
I don't know even know where to pivot with you because I don't have the card in front of me. So again, I don't know if I'm setting up something here.
It's Hangman Adam Page. He's teaming up with Swerve Strickland. They're going up against the Ops. That's Powerhouse Hobbs, and that's Shibata tonight.
Yes. All right. I again, because I watched Collision.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Swerve's return promo, which did take place on Collision, where he not only made his big, like, I'm back, here's my manifesto, but it was Hangman Page and I are going to team up, and we're going to go up against the Ops. You're like, this felt like a big, important moment that took place on Collision. So now we're getting this tag match, which feels like, in another world, like this could have been you could have built this up to a pay-per-view in theory. It's a good tag to have. Shibata is purely built to take a pin, which is fine. I'm sure we'll get a hook interference and there'll be all kinds of shenanigans there. But Swerve looks great now that he's back and coming out with the chain. And Devin Dowling says Swerve doesn't care about Hangman burning down his childhood home anymore because the Ops are bad. Had you watched Collision? He points out, I don't like Hangman. Hangman doesn't like me. This is a one-time deal. And then we're going to go back to hating each other because we're one of the great rivalries in all of wrestling. Again, it's you kind of forget, like, well, Hunter tried to have Steve Austin killed, and then they went on a two-man power trip.
That's true.
Hunter and Shawn had each other murdered a bunch. Randy Orton sexually assaulted Triple H's wife while she was handcuffed in the ring.
My goodness.
They're still buddies. Like wrestling is just one of those where if you have a long memory, either you're going to be disturbed in the head or you're going to be Kevin Owens, which was always Kevin Owens' gimmick. The only guy who remembers what happened in wrestling. Willie Thornberry says, what is this collision you speak of? This was because it was Continental Classic and Scott was like, hey, you should watch an episode of Collision. I watched it. You're not going to believe this is what they gave away on Collision.
Let's hear it.
You know who John Moxley faced on Collision in the Continental Classic?
No, who?
Konosuke Takeshita.
Oh my God.
Takeshita beat Moxley clean on Collision. Dude, and before people get all like, "Well, this is fun," this would have been like in the peak of the Attitude Era. If you would have been like, "Oh yeah, no, Triple H beat The Rock on Sunday Night Heat."
Yeah,
clean.
And it's not a Super Bowl halftime show either.
And not on halftime heat with that camera coming down, which is still one of the dumbest decisions in the history of wrestling. I hate that camera.
That damn camera.
Yes, that's some of the best acting The Rock ever did, yelling at that camera.
Well, hey, we got more Continental Classic going down, Robert. It's
good.
The Gold League. Okada.
He's by the way,
Mm-hmm.
outside of Tony Marie Khan, whom we love, who is keeping track of what league is which?
I don't think anybody.
Like, are there kids on the playground? I don't have kids that even go on the playground, and they're like, "Who you got winning the Gold League, brah?"
Is that how kids talk nowadays on the playground, brah?
I don't know, and that's not how my kids talk. But my kids also don't watch wrestling, so yeah. They're not coming up to me like, "Hey, Dad, can we stay up and watch Collision?"
Well, Robert, you got Okada. He's 1-1. He's got 3 points.
Hold on. Wrestling Old Head says it's like Pokemon. No. If we're gonna go gold and blue, that's early '90s X-Men.
Yes, you gotta go X-Men.
That's 1991 X-Men when they split them with the X-Men and the Uncanny X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people like blue because that had Wolverine. I was a gold guy because I'm a Colossus guy. Best character in all of comic books.
Oh, you give me Gambit any day of the week.
X-Men Uncanny X-Men 266 is one of the few that I do not own. That
I
one of these years I'm gonna get it. I keep an eye out. Like, I keep looking online and thinking, this is how I don't remember what's scheduled for tonight's episode of Dynamite, but Wrestling Head says, "Well said, Robert. I love Cable. New Mutants 87, first edition, which I own."
Oh shoot, you do know it.
It's a random. There's like 10 or 15 that I just randomly, the guys from like as a kid, just like burrowed into my brain. Do not remember the last time as an adult I read a comic book. It's been several decades. Though I did for my 40th treat myself and got Giant Size X-Men #1.
Wow,
that was my big. I wanted it since I was a kid.
Yeah, but yeah, the debut of Gambit. That's the best comic I own right now. It's probably like I just was always been a fan, so I had to get
Gambit's is a top 5,
no doubt. Ripping cigs back in the day, him and Wolverine all the time in the comic books.
Yes, cigarettes are cool, kids. You should be smoking cigarettes.
Smoke cigarettes.
You can be cool like Gambit.
Yeah, smoke cigarettes and play basketball, everybody. That's what Gambit taught you in the comics.
I wish Moxley could smoke cigarettes on TV. Like coming down to the ring smoking a cigarette.
Yes, it should happen. He should do it.
Hey, few people could get away with that. You know who I guarantee you would be puffing a couple cigs on there would be Eddie Kingston.
Samoa Joe, too. You'd be pounding a couple nails.
Joe is a bastion of health.
No. I think I've seen Samoa Joe smoke before. I'm
trying to think most wrestlers dip because they're worried about the lung capacity.
Yeah, true.
The guys that I always like, yes, there's guys who vape, but most of them dip. The only guy who I remember like actively smoking cigarettes, and it was all the time, was Jim Ross.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, JR was a chimney.
I saw him ripping cigs in the green room in Chicago during StarCast.
Did he think you were there as a Make-A-Wish? Man, what's wrong with this one?
What's that short bald kid doing here?
Hey, Connie, what's with the little shrimp-looking kid?
What kind of cancer you got there, little guy?
It's got the Skittles cancer. It's fruity, delicious, fruity cancer. Samoa Joe, Eddie Kingston is our AEW World Title match, but there are 2 other Continental Classic matches.
Right, Robert, don't bury the lead here. It's Kazuchika Okada. He's 1-1, got 3 points. He's going up against Jack Perry, who I did not know was in the tournament, is 0-1, and he's got 0.
I get to do the Scott Chaplin catchphrase again. Well, if you watched Collision, there was a video that Darby filmed on top of a building for some reason, talking about how he is not medically cleared to wrestle anymore at the moment. And his legs just like gave out on him while he was wrestling, and the doctors won't clear him. And now he's been replaced by Jack Perry. And to quote Pitch Perfect 2, which is a sequel to one of my all-time favorite films, that was a lot of exposition.
Oh my goodness.
Darby just threw a lot of information in a very short thing. And all I kept thinking the entire time was, this is really well lit for being on the roof of a building.
Darby's like freaking O.J. Simpson in the Naked Gun movies, where he constantly gets beat up, and he's just like, soon he's going to be like just in a full body cast, like being wheeled around.
Well, someone go check on Priscilla Kelly to make sure that we haven't gone full OJ.
Oh boy.
Hey now, rumor and innuendo. Kyle Fletcher is taking on Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yes, Mike Bailey.
That'll be fun.
Yes, should be a fun one. Kyle Fletcher's 2-0. Mike Bailey needs a win here, Robert. It seems like he might get it tonight. I think.
Okay.
I think
I'm not losing much sleep over it if he doesn't.
I'm sure you're concerned. Hey, main event. It is Samoa Joe. Maybe ripping some cigs. And maybe Eddie Kingston will rip some cigs too. It's a AEW World Championship match here, Robert. Who does Samoa Joe retain, do you think?
Well, if you watched Collision, you would have seen a great Eddie Kingston promo, by the way.
That's what
where he's like, I'm not winning this just for me. I'm trying to do this for future generations because Joe, you were the guy we used to respect. You're a rat. You're a snake. I got to get this title off you. There's no chance Eddie Kingston is winning. They're setting him out there to get sacrificed, which is fine. It kind of feels like there's a world in which you wind up with a 6-man with Eddie and Swerve and Hangman taking on the Ops.
For those trios, do they still have the trios titles?
The most coveted titles in all of professional wrestling for this week. The trios title.
My goodness.
I'm going to disagree with Alt Jake. He said the C2 is a dumpster fire. The C2 is Tony Khan at his best because it is literally just the kid who dumped out all of his action figures on the floor and just said, all right, no storyline needed. You versus you.
It's the kid who loves action figures and math, Robert.
Dude, it's because it's PWG. You give anybody this roster and just say, we're going to keep doing all these crazy ass, really fun matches. You know what? Yeah, give me Kyle Fletcher versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Give me Okada versus Jack Perry. I don't need a story. Let them go out there and just have a match. They did Mascara Dorada versus Claudio on Collision.
Right.
And they just, there it is. There's no consequence. None of it matters because we then seem stupid when we think that these matches matter. And then there's zero follow-up.
Well, at least they have something to fight for. You know, the Continental title, is that what it is? Or the half of the unified?
I can't figure out any of that. Again, I'm a relatively smart individual, but from what I understand, the unified title is the combination of 2 titles, but those titles are still separate, and one of them is up for grabs, and one of them is not. So if Okada loses one but keeps the other, he's not the unified champion, or the unified title goes away, or he wins the Owen Hart tournament, or he wins the Dynamite Diamond Ring. I don't know. Dude, here's what I know. Dynamite is on television tonight.
Correct.
We do not know who actually owns Warner Discovery.
Correct. Very correct.
And we will be back tomorrow talking about it, unless there was anything else on of the newsiness for today.
Well, Robert, you touched upon the Chris Van Vliet interview with John Cena.
Yes,
one
I did.
Of the big takeaways that made some headlines was that John Cena cried, Robert, in regards to CM Punk going to Saudi Arabia. Did you happen to see that quote?
I watched considering I said I listened to the whole podcast. Yes, I saw that quote. By the way, when I heard John Cena cry, I thought of that the one thing from The Simpsons from Lisa's wedding, where the robots just start crying and their heads burst into flames.
Yeah,
it was a very corporate answer.
It was almost like a troll answer, though, too, I thought.
It was a very, like, the moment where John, where Punk and I were in the ring, and CM Punk went to Saudi Arabia, and he realized that this is beyond politics, and we're all people. And he went there, and he admitted he was wrong. Really?
I think there's a little. I don't want to say it's totally tongue in cheek whatsoever, because I don't think it is, but I think in a way John Cena knows how his brand is online. He says something like that, then you go look at his Instagram, and it balances out the scales of all that, I think, in a little way.
John Cena is a guy. So on this Thursday's episode of Working Stiff, Scott Shapp and I are going to talk quite a bit about the legacy of John Cena, and I've got some good John Cena stories and things like that we'll touch on. This was the most, like, you could almost see the little red dot from the sniper.
Yeah,
like it was. Again, we'll go back to The Simpsons. Like, that CM Punk moment was the Krusty the Clown. It moved me to a bigger house. Yes, CM Punk went to Saudi Arabia and apologized for talking about blood money because he got a lot of blood money. And if your favorite moment is when a guy was paid to go over there and say, "I'm sorry," in the most expensive cameo video ever purchased, good for you, John Cena. Good for all of you for joining us here, as you do every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern, on, dare I say, a plethora of platforms, including WW Creative _ISH X account, the @SE Scoops X account, the @Dominic D'Angelo X account, and on YouTube on Rumor and Innuendo, ad-free shows, and podcast heat. Another one in the books. Looking forward to talking all things Dynamite and whether or not Speedball Mike Bailey picked up that all-important point. So on behalf of the man who might not sleep tonight until he finds out what happened to Speedball Mike Bailey, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpolis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Real men also cry, dude.
Shh.